All right, this is Mr. Whipple. I've got Unit 10 here. We're talking about the War of 1812. We're doing the IXL on the causes of the War of 1812. The first portion talked about the the economic problems, so the shipping between the United States and Europe, and how the French and the British didn't like it. It talked about British impressment, which is the British forcing Americans to serve on British ships. But I want to tell you, the French did the same thing. The French and the British both did the impressment, but uh, we focused mostly on the British doing it. In the second part, excuse me, also in the first part, we talked about the neutrality, how we tried to remain neutral, and the British and the French, neither one of them liked that. They want us to pick a side, and anytime we didn't, they would interfere with us trying to deal with somebody else. In the second portion, we talked about the Native Americans. We talked about Tecumseh and how he tried to unite the Native American tribes so that they could resist American settlement, trying to keep us from coming west. And when they found out that they really couldn't do that on their own, they asked for and received help from the British. So in this one here, number three, excuse me, we're going to talk about Congress, all right, and how Congress got involved and took us to war, all right. So the first guys we're going to talk about are these things called war hawks, all right, a war hawk, and just the name of it alone, you can tell that this is somebody that liked war, that wanted war. Who were war hawks? Members of Congress who pushed for a declaration of war on Great Britain in 1812. Native Americans who fought for the United States against Great Britain in the War of 1812? No. British settlers in Canada who supported attacks on American settlers? No. And sailors who fled? These aren't even really good options here. This is all after the War of 1812. This right here is our only good, strong answer. War hawks were members of Congress who pushed President Madison to go to war. Who was one of the prominent war hawks in Congress? All right, Thomas Jefferson. By this time, first off, he was never in Congress. He was always president or in the executive branch. But Thomas Jefferson was out of office by now, so he's out the picture. Francis Scott Key, we're going to talk about him with the Star Spangled Banner. You already know that. Oliver Hazard Perry, this guy is really cool. We never talk about him, but he was like this naval commander on the Great Lakes. He had these little ships that would attack the big British ships. Our little ships were like fast and maneuverable, and he would like sneak in, attack the British ship, and then get out. Oliver Hazard Perry, they called him the hero of the Battle of Lake Erie. Really important guy that we never talk about in history. But the prominent war hawk we're talking here is Henry Clay. And it's important you all know about Henry Clay because he's our boy from Kentucky. Born in Virginia, but he grew up and worked in Kentucky. He had a plantation. It's in Lexington. You can go visit his house now. Ashland. Ashland is what's left of Henry Clay's house. And Henry Clay is one of the most important politicians ever to come from state of Kentucky. He's right up there with Abraham Lincoln. Henry Clay served in Congress. He served in the Senate. He was the Secretary of State. Henry Clay ran for president many, many times and would have won, but he ran against Andrew Jackson. And it was a whole completely different kind of world back then. But Henry Clay was a war hawk. He wanted the United States to go to war against Great Britain, and we're going to see why. Oh, well, after I answer the question. Henry Clay, a lawyer from Kentucky, was the Speaker of the House of Representatives during the War of 1812. He had a long political career, Secretary of State from 1825 to 1829, served in both houses of Congress, even ran for president, but three times was lost. Yeah, this is some really cool, exciting stuff. And it looks all boring and sad there. All right. One argument for going to war in 1812 was the United States might be able to gain territory in which two places. Thing is these guys, these war hawks like Henry Clay, what they wanted was Canada. Okay. You look at the map of the United States and you see Canada up here, United States down here, and Mexico, right? What guys like Henry Clay wanted was that whole entire map to be the United States. Henry Clay and all these guys, we talked about the causes earlier, impressment and the Native Americans, and that was all honest nonsense. By the time they said war, we had already started working out these problems. We were going to deal with our problems with the impressment and all that other stuff. But they needed an excuse because they wanted to take Canada. We wanted to take Canada. Oh, I'm sitting here talking so much I didn't even see Florida on there. Yeah, they wanted Florida too. They all right. Oh man, this is really going to punish me here for this is how you guys do stuff wrong. You don't pay attention. I didn't pay attention. All right, yeah. Let's talk about Canada and Florida, right? Canada was controlled by Great Britain. Florida was controlled by Great Britain's ally. You know, they thought that somehow they could draw Spain into it. What's going to happen is we'll get Florida sooner or later. Andrew Jackson will take it in like 1819. Yeah. All right. I guess the book, my answer is still correct. I believe Canada. I don't know why IXL here is trying to say Florida. I don't buy it, but they're trying to sneak that one in. So, select the arguments in favor of going to war with Great Britain. Not going to war would damage the nation's honor. Yeah, you know what? Honor is not a good. You want to die for honor? I don't want to. You want to kill for honor? That's not a good reason. A war would end British supported attacks against American settlers. Let's see. We're probably going to have to do more than one. War would prevent British taking over Louisiana territory. That was already French. I will go into war would threaten the United States economic relations in favor of. That's a go against. War would expand into Florida. They just told us that. All right. This is one of those things where you got to like kind of guess what the teacher wants or whoever's giving the test. I know that these two are the answers. They might say this one. They might say this one. I'm going to go with these two. Yeah. Damage the nation's honor. That is such a, I beg your pardon, that's such a stupid answer. Right? That should not even be on there. All right, now going to war. Many Americans felt Great Britain was taking advantage of the United States by interfering. But like I said, we had already solved this problem. By 1811, 1812, when Henry Clay walked into the House of Representatives and demanded that President Madison that they declare war and that President Madison sign off on it and take us to war. That honor, it was already done. I fully disagree with that. Oh, that's two. Which were arguments against going to war with Great Britain in 1812? Select all that apply. The United States did not have strong enough army or navy to fight the British. Yeah, we did not. Well, I guess we did fight them and we did push them off, but that was a war, the argument before the war. Needed to be stopped. That's an argument for going to war. Going to war would make the United States look weak. I believe that, but that's not the answer. Going to war might be bad for American economy. Yeah, again, it's one of those things where you have to guess what they want, and I don't like that kind of question. I don't want to ask you questions like that. Politicians worry the United States did not have a strong enough army or navy. New England merchants the economy depended on war. That's why these guys were all Federalists. These guys were all Federalists and didn't want to go to war with Great Britain because they didn't want to hurt the economy. War 1812 began in June 1812 when blah, blah, blah declared war on the United States, declared war on Great Britain. Which president signed the Declaration of War? All right, now here's something I want to talk about and make sure you understand. All right. According to the Constitution in the United States of America, under Article 1, that is that's the Congress, House of Representatives and the Senate. Only the House of Representatives can declare war. All right. Now, the president can say, hey, we need to go fight in Afghanistan, or we need to go fight in Iraq, or the Japanese bomb Pearl Harbor. We need to go fight them. But it's up to them to make the decision. And if they say no, right, then we don't go. So Madison signed the Declaration of War, but it was the House of Representatives, Henry Clay, that actually declared war. So make sure you understand that. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, they cannot declare war. The President of the United States cannot declare war. He signed Congress. Whose declaration of war? Congress declaration of war. And it was our first declaration of war. We very rarely, we fight all the time. We send soldiers all over the world and attack and kill and destroy, but we don't actually declare war. We've had soldiers fighting in the Middle East since 1990, right? 1992. But have we ever declared war? Nope. Which of the following were causes of the war 1812? American alliance with France? No, we didn't ally with France. Americans' anger over impressment? Yes. Strengthen economic ties with Great Britain? Can't go to war with a country and strengthen economic ties. So no, no, no. American frustration with British support Native Americans? Yeah. The British wanted help to come send those guys. British desire to recolonize? I don't think so. American desire to expand into Canada and Florida. I still don't like that Florida part, but yeah. And we're not going to do the bonus stage, guys, because I've talked way too long. Make sure that you finish the puzzle. And if you've got any question, give me a call.